Oh, yeah. Good. Come on over, sit down. Yeah. Boy, don't you look snazzy tonight. They don't use that word anymore, do they?
No, snazzy is a good word.
Snazzy is a good word.
Definitely snazzy.
I thought it was a dress, but they're shorts.
Well, these are little shorts, and this part's a dress, so it is snazzy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
And how are you doing?
Good, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Well, I'm just great.
Do you ever consider, when I listen to you sing, going into the ministry? I'm seriously,
Well,
you have that kind, you know.
I thought I was.
In a way.
In a way. I'm out promoting something all the time, preaching about Dollywood or preaching about
What did I, now,
new
sit on the
movie
card.
I
I didn't
got out.
understand that. Let me understand.
What?
See if I understand. You're celebrating the 7th grand opening. How can you have, what do you mean 7th grand
Well,
opening?
no,
Hasn't it opened already?
Well, we do every year. See, we close during the winter, and we
Yeah.
add a new edition while the winter months are, because we're not open, except for the Christmas festival that we
Right.
have in December. But we're going into our 7th year. Just seems
I
like
remember when
yesterday.
you were here talking
I
about
know it, first year. But we've done very, very well, and this year our new expansion is called Show Street. So we have a bunch of famous people like Burt Reynolds and Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
A bunch of our friends coming down, Ray Benson, and
Is that a fact?
yeah, and a bunch of folks coming from Nashville, Reba McEntire.
Do you have rides and everything?
Well, we have an amusement area. It's
Yeah.
not an amusement park. It's a theme park. It's kind of like it's becoming more and more of a culture center all the time. It's got a lot of arts and crafts and wonderful shops, tons of music, and it's really a great place for the family and for kids. And see,
great.
I'm preaching now.
Yeah, yes you are. Yeah. And you convinced me. I'm healed.
And I want you to come down to Dollywood.
Glory, glory, yeah.
You calm
I got
down.
carried away there for a moment. Now you're in a movie called Straight Talk.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you've been in movies before, but this is the first movie you're really carrying. The other movie, you were in concert with Jane Fonda and, who am I leaving out? And Lily Tomlin.
And of course we had, in Steel Magnolias, I worked with Shirley MacLaine, Daryl Hannah, and Olympia Dukakis.
Now you're kind of carrying
Julia
this movie all
Roberts,
by yourself as a movie
Sally
star.
Field. Well, that's what they say. I always felt like I was starring in the movies. I thought I was just in there with everybody else.
Well, I think
I didn't know that I wasn't a star until now. They just said, this is the first movie you've ever starred in. I said,
Well, I think what they mean, the others
No.
are kind of in concert, you know, it's
I
a
do
repertory
know what
thing.
they mean, and I don't really feel like I'm carrying this one because I'm working with some wonderful people like James Woods and Griffin Dunn and Michael Madsen. We have Philip Bosco and, we have just Spalding Gray.
Yeah.
And tons of wonderful people. But it is a story about this girl from Arkansas that goes to the big city of Chicago, accidentally becomes a talk show radio host, and becomes famous overnight and starts giving all this down-home country advice. And it's kind of a sweet and fun movie. I think it's kind of uplifting, and it's a lot like my personality as far as her simple approach to life and loving people.
People ever ask you for advice?
Oh, all the time.
About what?
About anything, everything. All of my life, people have always come to me, and even my parents come to me to ask me for personal and business advice. And I guess I'm just one of those people that you just feel like you can talk to. Yeah. If you can get me to shut up long enough, you figure I must know something.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how they get in there to ask a question.
Exactly. So talking...
Peter is going like this, which means, I assume, I've only been hanging around here for about 30 years, which is... Like, I don't know. You have a little piece of film here.
Yes, I think that they're going to show a little clip from the movie. And I'm not certain, again, which one it is. They always send these over from the studio. And sometimes they tell us what they are, and sometimes
we'll
they
find
don't.
out ourselves.
So we'll see, and then
Watch
I'll
the
tell you
monitor.
later.
This is some Straight Talk.
I am prepared to offer you your own program.
My own program?
It's 2 hours a day, 5 days a week at... What were we paying you?
$250.
I'm prepared to double that.
Double my salary and no reception work?
No reception work.
Hey, wait a minute. This says Dr. Shirley here.
Oh, right. The boss wants a doctor, so that's what you are. It's okay. Go ahead and sign it. It's not important.
Of course it's important. It's not true.
Okay. $800 a week.
But it still says Dr. Shirley.
Listen. Captain Kangaroo wasn't really a captain. He wasn't even a kangaroo.
So for the end of the week, you'll become a doctor. Yeah.
So that, of course, is Griffin Dunn, and that's when I first come from Arkansas and accidentally...
We were talking about you being a movie star when you were a little kid. Who did you like? Who did you go to see in the movies? I can remember whom I liked. Kent Bogart, Spencer Tracy, people like that.
I didn't really grow up in the movies like a lot of you did because we lived way back in the mountains and we had a drive-in movie. The first movie I ever saw was Robert Mitchum in a movie called Thunder Road. You remember that?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's an old movie, but the reason we went to see it is the first movie that any of my family had ever seen, and Daddy loaded us up in a pickup truck, and we all went to this drive-in, and we all piled out and listened and watched this movie because it was about it was a story about a boy from up that part of the country that used to run moonshine whiskey.
Right.
And so it was based on a real true story of people that our family knew, so everybody in the whole county was going. So I thought that Robert Mitchum was the only star.
The drive-ins are kind of, I guess they're all phased out now, aren't they? They don't have many drive-ins.
They hardly ever have them. Every now and then, as we travel around the country in concerts, going through little towns on our buses, we'll see a drive-in movie, and they're fun. I kind of miss them. I used to do a lot of necking in them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was what you did. It was the only way you could get away from your parents.
Did you know about things like that when you were growing up? I mean...
Did I?
Yeah, you know about...
Well, I always knew about things like that.
Well, I mean, we had to learn from somewhere.
What, the kissing and necking?
Kissing and necking, sure.
Well, well, I guess I was always fascinated. I always loved boys, and boys always loved me.
I can see why. Yeah, seemed to be a mutual attraction.
I was very affectionate, but it was always just romantic. It was just the thing you did, especially in our part of the country. When we were teenagers, we didn't have a chance to really, get out that much. And so when you did go, you went to the drive-in movie, and then you went to the Tasty Freeze after and drove around and around and around. And those old days are over, and I kind of miss them, but they live in my memory.
What's new with you in the tabloids? I mean, you're in there every other week. Anything I've missed this week?
I don't know what they had this week. I think there was a prediction in one of the tabloids today. Somebody was telling me backstage that said that I was going to choke on a pigeon feather in Dollywood at the opening. Of course, it's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and I thought, but it was true. That was one of the predictions. It was fun, but of course, you know the whole thing they've had about me supposedly being ill from an implant leak.
I've heard that.
Well, that's been like a great big deal, and I mean, but it's not true. I'm perfectly fine. I just keep having these visions of me, like just having a blowout and just start spinning around the room. Some inflatable doll. Like one of your love dolls. No,
that would kind of be like the Baldwin Dam collapse, wouldn't it?
But they always have all these things to say, but it's not true. I'm perfectly healthy.
Okay, I got to sell something here.
Oh, okay.
The Tonight Show welcomes our new sponsor, Century 21 Real Estate Corporation. When buying or selling a home, call your Century 21 office.
In a nationwide survey, 5 times as many homeowners...
Well, I have people
You have to go
do
shopping for
some of
groceries.
it.
You go do it?
Well, I love to grocery shop. It's hard for me to get out. Well, I don't really like to shop for clothes or anything, but I love to eat and I love to cook, and I usually love to go to the supermarkets when I can, and so I usually go late at night. Like we have supermarkets at home that stay open all night, so I'll go around midnight or 12 because we stay up late when I'm home, and so we watch you, and then we go to the store.
That's good. Somebody told me you go camping, fishing, something you like to do?
Well, a lot of people are always curious about what I do for fun and recreation because it seems like I'm working all the time, and I've just been all over television the last month. I'm about ready to, you know.
Who do you go camping and fishing with?
Well, my husband and I have always
Are you really
had
married?
This camper.
Now, you've been coming here for years.
Well,
I never see this guy.
Well, I hardly ever
Carl,
see him
isn't it?
either. Yeah, it's Carl.
There is a
Dean.
Carl.
There is a Carl.
Okay.
And we've been married for 26 years this May.
You're kidding. Carl, I don't mean to embarrass you. Carl keeps a low profile,
he
doesn't he?
certainly does. He does not like all the commotion of show business.
Yeah.
He likes to stay home and watch it on television and listen to the radio. He kind of likes to go on trips 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So we've always had a camper, and we always travel around. And we don't camp. We don't stop at campgrounds. We usually stop at little old flop hotels and go in and clean up and kind of make our rounds again. But we have a place on the lake. We like to kind of get out and fish. So I try to have a good, well-balanced life, and most of the stuff I like to do when I ain't working.
You seem to got it all in perspective. Things are going so well for you.
Well, I'm a happy girl. I should be happy. I've been fortunate enough to make a good living at what I love to do. So that's a good feeling. You should know.
Yeah, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you for coming. I know you can't stay with us tonight. I hope your movie is a big hit for you.
Well,
Straight
thank
talk.
you. But you know what? I've been promoting that movie for a long time. I didn't come to promote the movie, although I'm glad we mentioned that. But I came because I wanted to be sure and be with you before you left, because you know how I love you, and I really think that you have played a big part in my success because it was on your show that I got my first shot at a lot of big-time television. Remember the song I wrote for you one time?
Yeah, I sure do.
But someday you have it and you can show it on one of your shows. But if you ever would do specials and things, you know that I'll always be there for you. Because,
Isn't that nice? I'll give
and
you a call.
we're going to miss you.
Thank you, sweetie. You have to run? Okay.
And we're going to miss you too.
We'll be back with Stephen Wright. Stay where you are. Bye.